to expect nobody's going to do anything in one way or another, especially when there's no police force, there's nothing out there, there's nothing to help you. To expect nothing to happen is a little unrealistic, and to act all surprised at why you're getting persecuted is a little naive, for the 4th of July, saying that, we will not tolerate any, mobbing anymore, and it'd be a war of extermination if you ever try to attack us. And so Steny Ridden was the first to use that war of extermination phrase. And
Yeah.
they even published that pamphlet. They weren't like afraid of it or anything. Joe Smith sanctioned it. And that stance, that militant stance, is what did him in. I mean, you're going to go against the whole state. That's a totally unrealistic. But that's Joseph. We should judge Joseph Smith's leadership by this. He had problems that he needed to be held accountable for, but never was, for these kinds of bad decisions.
We talked a little bit about just some of the things that he accomplished in Nauvoo, or in the Kirtland era, with the overseas mission, and just establishing the temple and all of that, which that alone would I suppose, create some evolution in the person himself, just because his leadership, he's now over more people than he had been before. And I suppose when you evolve from a small sect to an established church, whoever is looked at as the leader is going to be perceived differently, and hence that person will perceive themselves differently as well. But since you've published two books on Joseph Smith, two biographies so far, and you've done tremendous research into his whole life, do you see an evolution of, when you think of the New York Joseph Smith as opposed to Kirtland, Missouri era? Do you see an evolution in him, which, like I say, is some of it was inevitable if the organization you founded grows and you become a leader to more people, and more people are looking at your leadership or gushing over you or any number of things, that's going to create some of that. But how would you respond to that? Did Joseph Smith, do you see an evolution in him from between New York and Kirtland and Missouri?
Well, so in New York, he's basically a kid, you know, very young and idealistic is how I describe him. Idealistic. He has these ideal ambitions. He's kind of a purist of thing, in concepts, and his followers were spread out. He had no political power that he got in Ohio and Missouri by being concentrated with a concentrated population that followed him, created political power for him. But basically, the overview I see as Joe Smith was young and ambitious and idealistic, and reality was setting in with his ideas expressed in the Book of Mormon and the New Jerusalem and government, patriarchal government that he wanted to set up in Missouri. He didn't always let go that easily. Probably in Nauvoo is where he finally changed the whole tone of what he wanted, and kind of gave up on the idealistic. I mean, there's no way he's going to get back to Missouri with a bunch of followers. There was maybe a scheme afloat when he wanted to be a general in the armies watching the Indians in the Western territories. That might have been a one scheme he was thinking of, but uh, for the most part, he started redefining Zion, and talking about Zion's and the stakes of Zion, and gathering to the stakes for safety. And so he kind of gave up on that Missouri, Independence Missouri uh, goal. no, at least not for the near term, and and became more vested in actual, real, uh, you know, government and leader in trying to be a leader that way, but uh, not in some scheme of setting up the New Jerusalem over and uniting with the Indians and maybe going through and purifying the American government from the secret combination that took it over, which was Andrew Jackson